All right, in our last video, we built these really awesome push sticks. Now, while these things are super cool, I don't have a place for them to go. So in today's video, we're gonna build a caddy that's gonna sit on top of our table saw fence, that's gonna hold all of our new push sticks, our store-bought push sticks, and a few other accessories, a pencil, tape measure, angle finder, and a feather board. Now this project should be pretty simple, which is perfect because I don't have a lot of time this weekend because it's 70 degrees here in Texas, and well, I want to be outside. So the first thing to do, we're going to get over here, we're going to line out every one of our push sticks to see where they're going to go. We'll start cutting, we'll start building, we'll get this thing done in no time. Okay, now so far, this is what we have. So we've got the small piece that sits inside of the fence. The 4-inch piece that sits on top that's gonna be flush on both sides of the fence. That's gonna butt up to this piece. We've got a channel here. We're gonna end up cutting a couple places back here for the angle finder, tape measure, etc. And then what we're gonna have to do here, we're gonna cut a piece that's gonna kind of be our edge. We'll cut a back piece, and then we're gonna cut a piece right here to kind of divide the sections, but also the new push sticks will be able to sit on top of that, and that'll give me this kind of angle down for those. This will just sit there just nicely. And then we'll cut in strips in the middle just to separate them, to give them their own little area. But so far, this thing is coming along pretty good, and everything is obviously still in hand's reach. So we're gonna keep adding to it, and then what we're gonna do, I'm gonna take some CA glue, I'll glue everything in place, and then I'll start screwing things in place. So let's keep going. All right, now we can go ahead and start gluing this up, at least to get it in place before I start screwing it together. Now, I did make a little oopsie as I was cutting the rest of the MDF to size. I got as it starts getting square, you lose sight of which way is lengthwise and widthwise, and well, I got those crossed up. So now, this guy is no longer as wide or as deep as this guy. So I think it's probably not a big deal. We can work around it because everything else is good, but there we go. All right, so we'll start getting this in order. So I've got everything in place. Most importantly, I've got the bottom of the caddy and the bottom of the fence that are level. So then it's just about putting everything into place. And I'm touching the fence. Okay, so I'm just gonna set this down. We're gonna glue it first, I think. Now remember, this is only to hold it down in place before I screw it together. Once I set this down as well, it will be in place. Ride that ridge, feels good. And then I'll have to glue it there. And I think once I get this part glued to here, then I can start screwing it together. That way I can move it around without it messing up or coming undone. And then we'll start building the caddy itself. So stay tuned. I gotta let some glue dry. Go have some fun. Okay, now we can go ahead and screw together the part that sits on top of the fence. It's all glued. Now we're gonna go from the bottom into the top, which means we're gonna have to countersink it. So I'm gonna put in about 6 screws, two in the corners. I'll do 2 right there in the middle. All right, now that we've got it all mocked up, you can probably see that we've got our channels here. So none of this is glued in just yet. We're gonna go ahead and glue in the back and the side, and then we'll glue in this divider and then these 3 dividers. Once those are done, we'll flip it over, we'll screw this in, we'll screw all these in from the back side, and then we've got to cut the small strips up here that are going to be our dividers on top. But really, this thing is coming along and it's coming along fast. So let's glue, let's screw, let's get it done. Okay, now that we've got it all glued together, I'm gonna go ahead and sand all the edges, just make sure everything is flush, and then we'll put it on the fence. We'll make sure the fence can move back and forth with no issue. We'll load it up. I'll show you guys what it looks like. This one-day project is done. All right, now we've got our caddy right here in front of us. I'm just gonna show you everything that my intention was to put in it. The first thing is we have our digital angle finder. Sits right there, nice and snug. We've got one of our regular tape measures. We've got our saw stop push stick, along with a pencil we're gonna leave right there. We've got one of our feather boards, one of our bow feather boards. We've got our nice, awesome hand. We've got our hand saw push stick, our stapler push stick. We've got the micro jig gripper, and we've got one of our bench dog grippers, and there you go. The whole thing still moves back and forth. There obviously is a little bit more tension, but it slides with no issue. Now, I think the other thing that I can do is flip this thing upside down, and let me go ahead and wax it with some paste wax like I do with my miter sled. But this thing is really cool. Everything is at arm's reach. So if I'm at the table saw here making a cut, I can grab whatever I need. Maybe it's a finishing cut right here. Maybe I need to get my gripper out or one of my bench dogs and one. So this is so cool. I'm so organized. Let me go ahead and wax this thing up and we'll call this one done. All right, guys. Our table saw caddy is all complete. Man, what a cool project this was. You know, it took a project to spark a project. Last week we built the push sticks and I didn't have a place for them. And you know what? Sometimes you just gotta build things. And this project came out of necessity. I needed a place for the new push sticks, the old push sticks, as well as a few other accessories. I'm super happy with the way this thing turned out. It was a nice, easy project. Maybe it took a couple hours. And yes, this was not a scrap wood project as most of mine are. I actually bought this wood. It was a 3rd sheet of MDF, 3/4 MDF. Turned out great. I knew it'd work really well for this project, and I'd wanted something that, one, is gonna absorb wax and hold wax very well, not to scratch my table saw once I start sliding this thing back and forth. But I hope you guys enjoyed this build. It was a nice, fun one. Hopefully it inspires you to get a little more organized at your shop, and hopefully you get all your push sticks close to you. Until then, have a great day.